Welcome everybody, dear participants, dear speakers. Good evening. Good evening people in China and good afternoon people in France. Thank you all for connecting today. This is the online event that ParisTech is doing about the ParisTech CSC PhD program. Okay, so I will go through the webinar agenda. Yes, thank you. So we'll have two different parts today. The first part, we will be all together in this room. And for the second part, we will be separated in rooms. So first of all, we will introduce ParisTech. Then we will introduce the ParisTech CSC PhD program. And you can, of course, ask all the questions you have in the chat. Concerning the program or everything. We will then introduce research in each of ParisTech schools, and then we will begin the second part in different rooms, separated by teams, and you will have the opportunity to ask questions to the advisors. So today we have a lot of guests attending our webinar. So please do not hesitate to throughout the whole webinar to ask any questions you might have about one specific school or about research or about PhD proposals or about anything. Okay. Okay, I should tell you that this PPT will be sent to everyone who is participating today. So you shouldn't worry about taking notes, or you will have all the information at the end of the webinar. Okay, so I will start by introducing ParisTech. So ParisTech is a consortium of very prestigious graduate engineering schools in France, with the visions that's to be the primary network of graduate schools. The core values are excellence, openness, and innovation and solidarity. So ParisTech is an alliance of 7 grandes écoles in engineering and science. The slide before, Florence, please. Yes. Some of the schools are part of PSL university, such as Mines ParisTech PSL, Chimie ParisTech PSL, and ESPCI Paris. AgroParisTech and Institut Optique, you can see in violet, are part of Paris-Saclay. Arts et Métiers is part of ESAM in red, and Ecole des Ponts in black is part of Paris SUP. So we'll have key numbers now. How many are we at ParisTech? So ParisTech, all 7 schools, totally count 12,000 students, 1,500 PhD candidates, 1,500 professors, more than 100 partner companies, and close to 70 international agreements, and worldwide around 90,000 alumni. A little history of ParisTech. So how old are we? ParisTech schools are rooted in the French history. France has probably the oldest engineering tradition in Europe. The oldest school was created by Louis XV in 1747, and the most recent school was founded in 1917. All these schools left a mark in history. ParisTech counts many Nobel Prizes, and here you can see a few of famous alumni from the schools that left a mark in history. So some of them you probably know, such as Poincaré or Maurice Lemoine, or maybe Félix Trombe. I will probably not read for each of them because we might not have enough time otherwise, but you will have the PPT, so you can read after. So the most saving features of ParisTech. So keep in mind two major features, I would say. The first one is international openness, and the second one is the permanent connections with companies. So ParisTech schools have strong permanent connection with companies, with including multinational companies. Here you will see some of them, so it's very famous names, and probably you know most of the companies that are mentioned here. ParisTech alumni, yes, ParisTech alumni startups. ParisTech schools also provide the good environment for their students, creativity, and for innovation. So as you can see, a lot of successful startups were funded by other students or from research and at the schools, and that some of the successful ones are listed here. So you have 5 examples here. Okay, so now maybe you want to know why France is a nice country to come and study and come for a PhD. So let's speak about France. So you choose studying and living in France for 3 reasons, 3 main reasons. For the industry and economic attractivity. So France is the 5th economic country worldwide. International companies are based in France. The second is for the reputation of its research and scientific leadership in mathematics, chemistry, and also for the famous research organizations. And of course, you choose France for the cultural life. France is the country, as you know, of lifestyles, arts, heritage, and food. It's also the country of values commitments to sustainable development, ecological transition, and in France, for the language, French is the 5th most spoken language worldwide, considering the number of people, and French is also the official language of 32 states. Okay, so now let's talk about the ParisTech CSC PhD program. So I will go on to more specifically introducing the ParisTech CSC PhD program, which the webinar is about today. And first, we will specify what the applicant's profile should be. Okay, there are a few prerequisites to apply to this program. First of all, the first prerequisite is to be citizens of the People's Republic of China at the time of application. So applicants should not hold a foreign permanent residence permit, and they should be at least 18 years old when they apply to the program. Candidates can either be studying in China in the final year of their master degree or in the first year of their PhD degree, as long as they are recommended by their home university for course-supervised PhDs. They can also be studying in France. They can be currently studying in Master 2 in France or holding a master degree for less than a year. And of course, students who currently are studying in a ParisTech school, especially those who already are receiving a scholarship from the ParisTech CSC 9+9 program, are strongly encouraged to apply to this PhD program. Applicants can also be studying in one of the 41 partner countries. of the CSC, unless they can also be working as long as the companies, again, the company agrees with their plan to go with a PhD in France. The prerequisite excellence for a highly selective competition. Yes, thank you for this slide. So other requisites are excellence, because it's a highly selective competition. So applicants should have an excellent background, especially in the relevant disciplines. They should have a good command of written and spoken English, simply to be able to work. They should have also current personal and professional plan, and less, they should be willing to learn minimal French for basic communication. The speaking French is not a prerequisite for applying to this program, but it's better once admitted to at least start studying a bit of French to be more comfortable living in France. There are a few tips. When you apply, of course, the most important is to learn as much as you can about the labs and the PhD advisors, about their past and their present work, and after that to carefully select PhD proposals that are relevant with your personal profile, and then build a coherent and clear professional plan with all the information you have gathered. Okay, the CSC scholarship funding scheme. Okay, the funding scheme for this program is 1,350 euros per month. So around 10,000 RMB for the duration specified on your admission letter. So it's usually 3 to 4 year PhD plus a one-time round-trip international travel expenses provided by the CSC. The duration, so I say, can be 3 to 4 years for a full PhD, or 6 to 24 months for co-supervised PhD. And then that's a condition of the CSC. You should be committed to go back to China at the end of the PhD. There are exceptions to this condition, and you can find them on the CSC website. Okay, so the calendar and steps to the ParisTech CSC PhD program. So where you can find the relevant information, you can find all relevant informations on ParisTech website. So you go to the website and you pick International China and ParisTech CSC PhD program, and you will find all the information, all the PhD proposals, and you can also find a laboratory directory on ParisTech website to learn more about the labs. In the Q&A session on the website, you will find a PPT to explain you how to register. So for this campaign, for this year 2021-2022 campaign, so we have 7 schools participating, and we have 110 PhD proposals online in 12 fields of engineering. So you can check them all on this link, where to get relevant information. And for starting your admission procedures, you can also click on this link. Of course, about the information, so you can also find relevant information on all the social media accounts. So the global accounts or the Chinese accounts, you see we have a lot of accounts in China. So you can pick the one you are most comfortable with, and you will find all informations about ParisTech program, so about this program of today. So as for the agenda for this PhD, CSC PhD admission, so the first step is the publication of the PhD proposal. So this first step is already done. Okay, I just wait for the next slide to start for the... Okay, thank you. So since the 18th of October, so the PhD proposals have been put on the website, so you can see them on the website. So this first step is already done, and you can find, and then until December the 12th at 11:59, at the time of 11:59 in Paris time in the night, you can apply. So after that, you will have the invitation to the interview after the 24th of December. And during the months of January, you will have the interview with ParisTech. And late January and February, beginning of February, you will have the interview with the PhD supervisors. Of course, during all the period of application, you can speak, and you should speak to the advisors and have contact with them to ask all the questions you have. After February, after the interview with the PhD supervisors, you will receive, if you are accepted, a conditional admission letter, and then we will start for the CSC scholarship application. So as I said, the first step is to check the PhD proposals, and the second step is to send your application, and there is a list of required documents for application. So the list is written here, so you should provide all documents for your application to be considered. And if you are selected, if you provide the full documents, if you are selected, you will be called to the interview, and then you will go with the interview with the supervisors, as I said. And the conditional letter being sent to you after in February. And the results of the CSC will be given to the students by the end of May or beginning of June 2022. So throughout the whole process, of course, ParisTech in China is here to answer any questions you might have. Yes, sorry, I forget to introduce myself. So I am Marie de Bonny. I am the representative for ParisTech in China. So I am in Shanghai now. Sorry for this. So how will your application be evaluated? So the first in your application file, the first thing that we will evaluate if it's all your application is complete or not. And then we will check the excellence of your academic transcript. So we will check your personal ranking, the ranking of your university at both international and national level. And we will check the referrals you send us during the interview with ParisTech. So that we will evaluate is during the interview is your capacity to communicate in English or in French, if you speak French, but you don't have to speak French. And then your capacity to present and explain clearly your personal and your professional projects. And during the interview with the potential PhD supervisors, then what will be evaluated is the relevance of your profile with the lab's requirements and the PhD proposal, and your scientific level in the relevant fields with the proposal. About the tuition fees. So the tuition fees in France. So first of all, I should say that the doctor training program total cost of in France is about 100,000 to 150,000 euros per year. But for PhD candidates and within this program, they are only asked for tuition fees. So you will only have to pay for tuition fees. So the tuition fees are about around 400 euros. And there is, yes, you can see here. So it's the tuition fees plus the CVEC, and you can find the detail of CVEC at the bottom of the slide. Okay, the results. So the results will be announced, as I said, by the end of May, beginning of June. Each year, there is over 100 candidates that apply to this program, and about half of them will get a proposal from a ParisTech school lab. In 2020, 33 scholarships were granted by the CSC. So it's always around 30 scholarships granted by the CSC. The CSC, they also have their own criteria for picking the students to give a scholarship. So once the CSC announced the results, the successful applicants will receive the official admission letter and be informed by the CSC about the administrative procedures to follow. And before going to France, and once all administrative procedures are over, of course, the candidates have their visa. They will be expected to arrive in France in September or in October, September to October. Okay, about studying at ParisTech. So that's a few information about studying at ParisTech, about the cost of living or the help you will get. So usually you will get help to find accommodation. There's a possibility of accommodation allowance given by the French government. And the average living cost in Paris is around 800 euros per month. So it's around 5,900 RMB. So as you can see, that's covered by the CSC scholarship. That's okay. Then, of course, you will get assistance with the visa procedures through the ParisTech China office. So with me. Okay. Okay, most people are coming now. So we need to we can move now to the next part of this presentation, which will be the introduction of the schools research. So research in ParisTech schools. So first, the excellence of the research. So first, we will start by presenting excellence in research, as you can see. So the schools, ParisTech, have a long tradition of scientific excellence. As I told you at the beginning of this webinar, you can see here a few Nobel Prizes and Wolf Prize that the schools had over the past century. And some of them you probably know, they are very famous. So I think you probably know, and you will have the time after maybe to check. We can see the rankings also for the ParisTech school. So excellence of the ParisTech schools can also be seen in the rankings, the worldwide rankings. with the Shanghai ranking or the QS ranking, sorry, or the Times ranking also. And so we made, so we gave you the precision. So just to remind you, AgroParisTech and Institut Optique are part of Paris-Saclay. Chimie ParisTech, ESPCI Paris and Mines ParisTech belong to PSL University, and Ecole des Ponts and Arts et Métiers are ranking on their own. So you can see here that PSL and or Saclay or some of the schools are top ranking worldwide in those rankings. Okay, so you can check that later too. So the second slide also with the details of each subject for these universities and for our schools. The partner national research institutes, so the ParisTech schools, we have partnered up. So this is the national research institutes as the CEA, SNRS, INRA. So a lot of national research institutes work with the ParisTech schools, of course, for research. They are very, very famous in France. So the research domains for this program. So we have 12 research domains for the ParisTech CSC PhD program, going from chemistry. So you can see all of them now. I will not read all the themes here, but you can read them. So we have two research domains, and to learn more about the school labs, because that's part of the work you should do. Contacting the advisors, you can go on this page, and there is a lab directory. So you can just scan this and recording, and then you can check it. Okay. So all these slides, I will send them to you. So these slides will help you better know which labs work on which topics. So you will have all this PPT, so you can check all of them, and you will know which labs work on which topics, and so it will be easier for you and to contact the advisors. So for each themes, you can see all the schools and all the labs. Okay, so now we will have a presentation of each research in each 7 schools of ParisTech. So we will start with the AgroParisTech with Pierre Laroffi.
So hello everyone, I'm Pierre Laroffi, the Deputy Head of AgroParisTech Doctoral Studies and also ABS Doctoral School. So in France, you have Doctoral School which organize the training of PhD students in addition to their work in the labs. So AgroParisTech this year, we can propose 2 PhD proposals coming from 1 research unit, IAAS, which we'll present later. So you can move, I think it will be in room number 1. Later on. So what is AgroParisTech? So maybe if we can move to the next slide. Yeah, so I will briefly describe the different thematics we work about. So AgroParisTech is a main, biggest, I would say even, school in France about agronomy, agriculture, and food sciences. So we cover a large spectrum of researches, going from the food and the crop production to the fork and the health in human societies. So you can see that we address this in different fields in terms of production, agricultural production, and forestry, which is quite important in our centers. We have about 20-25 research units which work on all these different themes. So here are listed. You will have a presentation. So I won't list all of them, but I will just go through the main themes and topics of research. We also work a lot about all the food and non-food transformation. So how we transform what we eat and how it comes into our plates. We work a lot about environment and ecology, so trying to understand how we can produce in a more environmental friendly way. And of course, all the impact of our food production and what we eat on human health. So that's really the main topic of our research at AgroParisTech. Next slide, please. And so to know a bit more about AgroParisTech, it's divided in France in 7 different campuses, 4 of them which are close to Paris, and they are going to move into brand new building next year in Paris-Saclay. And we also have centers everywhere in France, in Nancy, in Clermont-Ferrand, in Montpellier, and even overseas in Guyane to study tropical forests. AgroParisTech also hosts many famous researchers that were awarded distinguished prizes, so such as Claire Chenu about ecology and environmental studies, Hervétis, which you might know, who is very famous for developing and even creating the molecular gastronomy, which is a very important thing in France, or Florent Allais, who is working in biotechnology and is very highly recognized in the world. Next slide, please. And just to know and to tell you why you should come to AgroParisTech. So it's a very international school. We have more than 30% of our candidates, of our doctoral candidates, who are coming from abroad. And it represents about 350 doctoral candidates with a very good supervision rate with about 250 teachers. Of course, it's not only AgroParisTech teachers that supervise doctoral candidates. We have a lot of partnership with University Paris-Saclay, with other universities in different parts of France, such as in Reims or in Lorraine. And we also have strong partnership with national research institutes such as INRAE, so the French National Institute for Agronomy and Environment. We also developed a lot of international programs, especially in our themes in agronomy and agroecology, such as with Wageningen, with the University of Florida, with Aarhus University in Denmark, or with Berkeley in the US. And in addition to all this academic partnership, we have a strong commitment to work and develop research with the society. So that's why we have many partnerships with companies. And here are the logo of some of them you might know, such as Carrefour or Danone. And they can fund or participate in the research you will be doing. And the research, even the research made by the young researchers as the doctoral candidates, is very well recognized in the world. And we were awarded last year many prizes from graduated AgroParisTech students, so such as the Prix de la Chancellerie de Paris or the Agriculture Academy prizes. And we're also committed into developing communication skills, such as working in my thesis in 180 seconds. So hope you will enjoy AgroParisTech. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. So now we will continue with Alicia Dat for Arts et Métiers. So
thank you, Mary, and hello everybody. I'm happy to be there and present to you our school. I'm Alicia Dat, an advisor in charge of exchange between my school and China, and I'm also head of one of the 15 laboratory of Arts et Métiers Institute of Technology. I will start with just our school is the biggest school in terms of size of the students of the ParisTech, and we propose in this program 55 PhD proposal in 7 fields of research, including 12 labs of our school. You can see here the logo of our different lab, and this lab is not only in Paris, but the labs also in the other campus in the other city in France. We have 8 campuses in France. If we can go to next slide, please. Yeah. So Arts et Métiers is organized in 11 sites, 8 campuses for education and research, and 3 institute only for the research area. So when you choose one of the proposal, PhD proposal, you can check the laboratory and which campuses propose this PhD subject. Actually, we have more to 200, excuse me, PhD students, more than 6,000 students, and 15 labs. And for this program, 12 between the 15 labs propose the PhD proposal. One of the particularity of the oral school is the link with industry. If you can see here, we have about 15 million euro coming from the grant coming from industry directly, or 7 million coming from continuous education with link with the industry and the engineering working in the industry. If we can go to the next slide, please, Marie. Yeah. So we can see here our implementation in France. Personally, I coming from campus of Metz in near to Germany, in the east of France. I checked with some of my colleagues coming from Lille, Paris, and Bordeaux actually in this meeting, and maybe can answer to you for the second part of this meeting. Next, please. Yeah. As we have the more laboratory, so I'm sorry, the arrow between this in the figure is not very clear, but I try to explain briefly for you. We organize our research domains in 5 domains. One is in mobility, linking with automobile and aeronautic and train. So 3 laboratory indicated in this field, but this laboratory working are also in the LRP. We have also in field the energy, mechanic fluid or electrical energy, health technology, construction, and one of the important domain of Métiers is in field of manufacturing, going from mechanical engineering, material engineering to industrial engineering. I don't go to each laboratory to present why we can find more information about each lab in the website of Métiers, and after you can find the link directly to each of the lab. The next slide, please. In our labs, one of the things is very important for us is the part of the experimentation, and we need really the huge infrastructure and platform for our research. You have here just some of them in figure, working in forging, mechanical fluid, in virtual reality, and so on. So we will find in our campuses a lot of equipment for experimentation in the industrial size in our school. Next slide, please. And for the end, so for some key figures, so we are about 400 teacher researcher, and actually we have more than 200 PhD candidates. Each year we have more than 500 publication, and one of the especially, if you can say, around 40% of our publication is a co-publication with the international researcher. We are very close to the industry, so we have the partnership like the chair, 9 research chair actually in our school, and we have a very close program with European Community Program, and actually 17 current Union European project follow in our school. Thank you very much. If you have the question, we can answer later, or you can propose your question in the discussion in chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. So now the next one is Chimie ParisTech. Ilaria, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Marie, and welcome everybody. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to present you briefly the research activity at Chimie ParisTech. So I'm Ilaria Ciofini, and I'm the Director for Research at Chimie ParisTech, and also the responsible of the service de thèse, so the doctoral service at Chimie Paris. So if you ever come to Chimie Paris, we will get in contact in any case for your inscription and so on. So our school is actually located in Paris city center, so very close to the Pantheon, and very close also to other schools that you will see in a while. So we are actually having 3 laboratories, but today I will actually speak only about 2 of them, because these are the 2 that actually have deposited some proposal for the CSC PhD program. And these 2 laboratories are actually the IRCP, and the structure of our school is actually quite thematic in the research laboratories. So it's a chemistry school, so we are doing chemistry and chemical engineering, but we also have many collaborative projects that are at borderline with biology, health science, or for instance, on the other side, material science and physics. So just to go a little bit in detail, and if you are interested, besides, you can also look at the website of Chimie ParisTech, which is quite detailed, and each of these laboratories has its own website, so you can find all the information you need on the website. I will put actually the address on the chat for you, and I will just briefly explain you what each of these laboratories is doing, and also make a link with the topics that have been proposed. So the I-class laboratories is the Institute of Chemistry for Life and Health Science. So it's actually an institute which is composed by 4 research units that are actually developing different tools to improve chemistry in life and health sciences. So we have a team which is actually devoted to theoretical chemistry, and you have 4 topics of PhD subject from these teams. You have a team that is actually devoted to physical chemistry, and more precisely on imaging techniques and electrochemical techniques related to health sciences. Not still on the next class. And this is actually as deposit 1 project. And then we have 2 teams that are actually devoted to organic synthesis and bioinorganic chemistry, for instance, for drug design and in the field of cancer therapy or antibacterial therapy. So you have overall 6 topics on this. And then you have 10 topics coming from the IRCP, that is the Institut de Recherche de Chimie Paris. This actually laboratories is more focused on material science and application of material science, for instance, in energy production and storage. And in this case, the topics you have this year are mostly focused on surface science, for which we have 3 topics. So there is a big team actually studying surfaces and reactivities of surfaces and structural surfaces. And then you have 4 topics on polymer science, so from biosourced polymers to polymers applied for vectorization and so on. And then you have 1 topic on photovoltaic application, and 2 topics on devoted to recycling. So you can see it's all chemistry. We can go to the next slide. So I told you that actually we are in this Paris city center, but we have a lot of infrastructure and also large instrumentation in Paris city center, including, for instance, we are a member of large infrastructure for the study of materials related to cultural heritage. This is under the Louvre Museum. And of course, we have many laboratories concerning chemistry, wet chemistry, and whatever is needed to characterize these, and also HP's facilities. So last slide, in numbers, Chimie ParisTech, we are 140 researchers and teachers, and we have around 1,000 PhD candidates, 50% of which are international, and 50% of which are actually founded by companies. So we have a good network of collaboration with industrial partners that are of different size, from large companies like L'Oréal, Saint-Gobain, Sanofi, to small startups that are actually more interested in technological development and innovation. And of course, our research is also fundamental research, and this is the reason why there are many running projects that are of at the European level of excellence. So, for instance, CSC project or European training network that are actually PhD network training, and researchers of our laboratories have been granted of many different prizes. So I hope to see some of you next year in Chimie ParisTech, and if you have any question, feel free to answer in the chat. Thanks.
Thanks, Ilaria. Thanks a lot. So we'll continue with the École des Ponts with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Emmanuel Girard, the Deputy Director of the Research at Ecole des Ponts ParisTech. I'm in charge of the valorization and development of the research activities at this school. Today, I'm going to present quickly the research at the ENPC. We can go to the next slide, please. Yeah. At our institution, we address the major challenges of the ecological transition through 4 socio-economic priorities that they are industry of the future, city and mobility systems, management of risk, resources and milieux, and economy practices and society. Like you could see on this slide, we have got 12 laboratories that cover a wide range of type of research, going from fundamental subjects to more applied. This is a sign of a research which is particularly extensive, diversified, and interdisciplinary. Our laboratories cover 4 core disciplines, like mathematics and computer science, mechanics and physics of material and structures, environmental sciences and engineering, economics and social sciences. Each field of research strives for pushing the limit of scientific knowledge and at the same time for generating innovation, sustaining economic and social development. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. We have also some specific infrastructures like 3 co-innovation platforms where we'll be able to work with private companies that want to develop their products or solution. Fresnel and Building that you could see on this slide are 2 of them. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. These are some key figures about our research. Our research is based on the mobilization of more than 460 researchers and professors and hosting of 540 PhD students and postdoctoral fellows. We are publishing about 1,000 papers a year, including 47% signed with an international partner. We execute for 10 million euro contracts a year with companies or institutions, including 51% carried out directly with industry. To conclude and summarize this presentation, at ENPC, the research is focused on the major challenges of the ecological transition. It's a research particularly extensive, diversified, and interdisciplinary. For us, a researcher is someone who is intellectually demanding, interested in interdisciplinarity science and both fundamental and applied science, and focused on sustainable development issues and social impact. Today, we propose 5 subjects that concern 2 of our 12 laboratories. Firstly, HMCO, our laboratory of hydrometeorology, and secondly, Métiers, our laboratory of mechanics, that will be presented on the second part of this meeting. And that's all for me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thanks a lot, Emmanuel. So next we will move on to ESPCI Paris PSL with Costantino.
Yes, welcome.
And again, yes, thank you, Constantine.
Welcome to everyone and good evening. So the ESPCI has been a partner of this program for quite a few years. We've had many PhD students from China in our laboratory, and we focus mostly on physics and chemistry. This year we have 19 PhD proposal. There might be others if you contact the labs themselves in 5 fields of research that are part of 8 laboratories. I think the next slide should have a little presentation video. Can you put the next slide? Yes. So if you can start the video, this was a presentation that I shot last year.
Yes.
That's a different one, but okay, maybe. Yeah, that's the ESPCI one.
It's not this one?
Yes, this one. I just don't have the sound, but
okay.
You're not sharing the sound.
I'm not sharing the sound?
No. Search of ESPCI. Yes. ESPCI Paris PSL is a small engineering school with a strong focus on research. We're located in the center of Paris, and we have 11 research laboratories that work on interdisciplinary research at the interface between chemistry, physics, and biology. In biology, we have a laboratory dedicated to neurosciences, and we also have a strong focus of microfluidics for medical and pharmaceutical applications, and also wave physics for medicine. In chemistry, we have a very strong focus on chemistry of materials, but also on organic chemistry, and more recently on biochemistry. In physics, our laboratories focus on wave physics, optics, and acoustics, on solid-state physics, for example, low-temperature superconductivity, and also on soft matter physics, which is a very strong focus of the ESPCI. Every year, our researchers publish about 500 research papers, out of which 10 to 15% are published in journals with an impact factor higher than 10. We also patent. We have about 30 patents every year coming from the research of the school, and 2 or 3 startup companies that are being founded from researches done within ESPCI Paris. A researcher at the school is someone fundamentally interested in interdisciplinary science, and also as much into fundamental and applied science. Our academically oriented PhD graduates continue on to postdocs in prestigious universities in Europe and the United States, and usually end up professors in very well-known universities worldwide. We also have strong ties to industry, and the majority of our PhD graduates will go to our research and development jobs in industry. The first reason to come to France is really Paris. Paris is a beautiful city to live in, but it's also a great scientific center. And you will always find in one of the Parisian laboratories the expertise you need to advance your research project. Additionally, mentoring at ESPCI is very personalized. You will not have more than 2 or 3 PhD students per advisor, and we'll have ample time to discuss with them. My best advice to you would be to look carefully at the research group and what they do and what they have done before you actually pick a research PhD topic. À bientôt. Zaitan. See you soon.
Okay, I think if we can go back to the slides, I can say a few more words. So it would be the next one. Okay, yeah. Did you put the additional slides after that?
Normally, I put all the slides you gave me.
Okay, all right. Well, so this is an
overview. Let's see.
Yes. I think of the research labs. I think you've already heard that from the movie. So we have three main disciplines with a lot of interdisciplinary research projects. So you will find that many of the PhD projects will have both chemistry and physics, or maybe chemistry and biology, and they will be integrated into research labs. So research labs are groups of researchers, and you might have one or more joint advisors in that research lab, and research labs share equipment. So it's very important to really look at the research lab when you look for the PhD topic. And again, you can look at the list. They have websites, and you will have more information about what each lab is doing in the website of the laboratory. Can we go to the next slide? So a few names. So in terms of research infrastructure, ESPCI is famous for its small size experiments, prototypes, invention. We train innovation engineers and R&D researchers that will go both in the public sector and the private sector. So we build many of our own instrumentation, but among the things that are specific to ESPCI, there's a large microfluidic platform. I think optical techniques are quite pervasive in several laboratories, and we have a brand new high-resolution 3D printer for nanoscale features. Some of names that you see over here, again, you can look them up to have an idea of the type of research that they do. They each have profiles on Google Scholar, so you can have an idea of the type of publication and work they do, also on their website. Can we go to the next slide? So a few figures, like in the other ParisTech school, we have about 500 researchers, 180 that are professional permanent researcher. The rest is more the postdoc and contractual research. We take in about 80 students in the PhD program every year in the total number of laboratory. We focus, we're very much at the interface between fundamental and applied research, which means that we publish a lot. We also publish in high impact factor journal, and we've had some prestigious prizes in the past, like 6 Nobel Prizes. We've had 17 ERC grants in our laboratory. We have currently 3 or 4 that are active. Also, the CNRS has recognized our researchers through recently a silver medal, but several bronze medal and silver medals in the past. And also, I would like to stress the innovation aspects with a number of patents and startup. This may not be the focus of the topic you receive, but it's in the general environment of ESPCI. We also have collaboration and partnerships with companies, usually more large companies, and we also work with small companies that come from research that is done within the ESPCI laboratories. Can you go to the next slide? I have a few slides just to present the topics that are in the list. Some of these topics will be presented in the afternoon session by the researcher. This is more the physics side. I think Xiaoping here will be here to present his his topic, I think, in mechanics and fluids. And I don't think there will be presentation from the physics of materials lab. That will be more in the physics side and the material science. And also this topic on hydrodynamics and mechanical heterogeneous media from Philippe Marc. I think there will be not more detailed presentation. Next slide. So this is more the interface between physics and chemistry. There will be a presentation from the soft matter science and engineering lab from Jean Contet. He has 3 topics that will be in the optics, physics optics session. And there will be also a presentation by Benjamin Laroche on chemistry, on organic chemistry. They are young researchers, quite promising, that we just hired. So I'm sure they will provide some really exciting new research topics for you. Next slide, please. And then I'm finishing with 2 labs that are a bit more at the interface. Brain plasticity is more biology. I think there is a topic also from Serge Birman in brain plasticity, but it's not on the slide. But on the left, you have Corentin Tréguet, who will be also in his topic is chemistry, but it's really a physics project. So if you're interested in physics for soft matter physics, these 25 and 28 projects are very good. Corentin is also a young hire from us, a very dynamic young researcher. So I'm sure he will get excited about having a young PhD student be interested in his project. So thank you very much. I think that's the end of my slides and my presentation.
Thanks a lot, Costantino. Thank you very much. We will continue with Denis from Institut d'Optique. Hello, good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So we'll talk a little about the Institut d'Optique and our proposal. You can go to the next slide, please. So Institut d'Optique is located in three places in France. One in Paris-Saclay, where I am, and we have also an antenna in Bordeaux in southwest, and in Saint-Étienne in southeast. In each location, we have students, a research lab, and an innovation center. You can go to the next, please. So I just start with some person that is quite famous in our field. So our star, I would say, is Alain Aspect, whose experiment in the beginning of the 80s really start what we call entanglement and everything about quantum information. So we receive numerous prizes around the world. I put also another name of Philippe Granger, who is also in the quantum physics regime for continuous variable for cryptography. Another is Jean-Jacques Greffet, which is more focused on nanophotonics. And finally, Laurent Cognier, which is another aspect of our field, is the application of photonic tools to study other things, in this case, biophysics and medical physics. And so I will just a brief overview of our three labs. So I will start with the lab in Bordeaux. So there is a lot of proposals for a PhD in Bordeaux. So the name of the lab is LP2N for Photonics, Numerical and Nanoscience Laboratory. So I list the different groups. So it's Institut d'Optique is mainly focused on photonics, obviously. But as you have seen in the previous slide, we also use this optical tools to study other phenomena, such as biophysics. So, and we also consider photonics in the broad sense, meaning that atoms having wave duality by quantum mechanics are also in this field. That's why you also have some groups working on quantum gases. There is one in Bordeaux. We'll see others later. So you have so photonics, so light in complex nanostructures. As I said, two groups looking more on biology, and also another aspect is the link between optics and numerics, because nowadays we can optimize optical instruments using a clever way to using numerics. Or another way, you all know, you play perhaps with 3D world, and in order to optimize how to build, how to study, how to image 3D objects, and to be able to see 3D objects, there's a lot of optics and numerics behind this. So we have groups working on that. So LP2N is a quite new laboratory, only 10 years old. So this small number of persons yet, but it's increasing. Next slide, please. So LCF is, I would say, the historical lab of Institut d'Optique. So there's more numerous number of persons. And you once again find groups in the quantum aspects, quantum gases, quantum optics, and more traditional, I would say, on the development of new lasers, especially on ultra-fast lasers. And again, biophotonics groups and nanophotonics groups, and also more linked to numerics, a group working on imaging information. And there's two small other groups working on nonlinear phenomena in optics. And the last one, which is to fabricate optics in the XUV range of radiation, which is quite hard, but very important. So these groups is able to produce very, very precise optical elements, and they usually are sent in space by NASA or ESA for space for research. So to have XUV apparatus in space. Next, please. So the last one is the laboratory in Saint-Étienne. So it's a bigger labs. Our own researchers are focused not on all these labs, but it's all more applied physics on some of these aspects. Once again, you have nanophysics. You have a way to interact, how a surface interact with light, why something is shiny, something is matte. This is, if you structure the surface, you can tailor what aspect you want to see. So there are links with the luxury industry, for instance, to perfumes and to other stuff. They're also working more on computer vision and some more applied physics on embedded systems. I don't remember the next one, if I have one, or it's the last one, I don't remember. No, so just to finish with this, because I skipped one slide. So Institut d'Optique, so as I said, is focused on photonics. I would say 70% on fundamental science and 30% on applied science. But this, nevertheless, there is several startups that have been founded by our researchers. There is in Bordeaux, Muquance, which is a world leader in the detections of gravitational field, gravimetry. And yes, is the first one, yes. Pascal, which is a young company on quantum computing. You have also Stereo Labs, a company working on 3D imaging, and Damae Medical, which developed the first optical detection of skin cancer. So this is just young researchers that able to start their companies, and they usually hire PhD students after their PhD. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Denis. And okay, for the last one, les mines, ParisTech, PSL, Julien.
Yes, thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. So I'm Julien Kuhn. I'm Deputy Director of Research of Mines Paris. And so it's my turn for a quick overview of the research activity at Mines Paris. So we have 2 PhD proposals this year in 3 fields of research concerning 2 labs. Next slide, please. Okay, so Mines Paris, formerly known as Mines ParisTech, was created in 1783 to train engineers for what was already at the time a high technology industry, mining operations. And today it's a graduate school in science, engineering, and economics. We provide multidisciplinary training for high-level engineers and students intended to assume high responsibilities in government structures and in the industry, both in France and abroad. In addition to being a founding member of ParisTech, Mines Paris is also a founding member of Paris Sciences et Lettres, PSL University, which brings together a number of the most prestigious graduate and higher education schools of Paris. Mines Paris is also one of the main contributors of the Institut Mines, which is in a way a cluster of public research structures focused on innovation with companies all over the French territory. We are also an associate member of the Institut Mines Telecom, which gathers the engineering and digital science graduate schools of the French Ministry of Industry. And maybe I should add that the school is located over 5 sites, mainly in the Paris area, and another one, the fifth one in southeastern France at Sophia Antipolis. Along with the teaching and training mission, Mines Paris also has an extensive research activity, obviously, both fundamental and applied. We call it oriented research, and as such, we are closely linked to the industry. Next slide, please. So the research activity relies upon around 240 permanent academics and around 400 PhD candidates who work within 17 research centers and 2 institutes. These centers are integrated into 5 departments. I won't go into detail because you can read for yourself. But these centers are grouped according to their main research topics. But obviously, there are transdisciplinary collaborations, especially for innovative projects. So looking at the departments, the historical core disciplines addressed by the Earth Sciences and Environment Department are supplemented with 3 other so-called hard sciences and engineering departments, namely energy and processes, mathematics and systems, and material and mechanics, which all share to various degrees tools and research topics. Finally, the 5th department, the Economy Management and Society Department, whose work is widely recognized, also brings a human sciences contribution and add values to many transverse projects supported by our research centers. Next slide. So our research centers can call upon a number of locally developed technological platforms and know-how, including world-class mathematical modeling and simulation tools. And they also benefit from a large scientific network, which results in a wide range of successful projects both at the school perimeter, but also with many other external partners, including foreign partners. The excellence and the creativity of Mines Paris research teams have been rewarded many times with the highest distinctions, including one Nobel Prize in economy. And most recently, the work of Tatiana Butova on new biopolymer-based materials was rewarded with the CNRS Silver Medal in 2020. And two of our researchers got ERC grants for projects in the field of quantum theory. Next slide. So finally, with this last slide, a number of key figures. Obviously, Mines Paris aims at remaining open to the outside world, in particular through the recruitment of PhD candidates and tenures, but also through a number of academic partnerships. And the school has a strong link with the socio-economic world, that is private companies, but also public and government bodies, such as the few that are presented here, but there are many more. And so our researchers have developed and maintained a large proportion of their activity on research projects with these companies. And this means over 500 contracts a year with most of the CAC 40 companies, which translates into a global income of around 30 million euros per year, which add to the yearly public funding. This also results in over 300 patents and software in our portfolio, and the funding of 25 industrial shares during the last 10 years, of which 15 are still active. So we think that all this contributes to give our PhD candidates a stimulating environment and hopefully a wide range of job opportunities at the end of their PhD. That will be all for me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Julien. Thanks, Julien. Okay, so Les Mines was the last school of the seventh school to present the research. So I just want to tell you again that you will receive the PPT of today after the webinar. So don't worry if you didn't have enough time to write everything or to take notes. You can. So this is the end of the first part of this webinar for tonight, for this afternoon for France. So the first people you can contact, of course, is myself. So Marie de Bonny here. You can see my email address and my phone contact and my, of course, my my email address. If you have more specific questions and about the PhD proposal, or if you don't know exactly the contact of the advisors, you can, of course, contact me, and then I will give your questions, or I will give you the email address of the advisors. Okay, so this is finished for the first section of this webinar. So the second part is beginning now. So we have, okay, we just have a little, Florence, can I just give my slide, please? Not this one. Yes, thank you. Because we change a little bit. Okay, you can see the, okay, so we have five rooms. So you can choose the room in which you want to go, for the room you want to go to. So we wrote, I think, in the chat the different labs and speakers now. So you will have the list of the advisors present today. So you can choose the room you want to go by yourself. You just have to choose it on the toolbar. I think I cannot show you, but you have the toolbar of Zoom, and you can choose the room. The list of the 5 rooms are written there. So don't worry if you are in the wrong room. You can come back in the main room and then go to another room. So don't be worried about that. And anyway, after the webinar, I will send you all the PPT with all the information and all the advisors and all the room subjects. So even if you finally are not interested by one of the room you were in, don't worry, you can apply for another subjects. But this is the time now to discuss and to ask all your questions about the labs and about the proposal with the advisors. So let's go. You can choose the room you want. So this is the teams you have here.